premise of my research centered around how the gendered psyche and masculinized ethos affect female political ambition. Because of these two theories, the benefits that women bring to the political arena are virtually lost when there's a dearth of candidates running. Masculinized ethos is the value placed on agentic traits and the perception that women are not strong enough to hold office. The gendered psyche explains that the societal structure that propels men into politics, yet hinders women from entering the realm. Both serve to prevent women from emerging in the political sphere. Agentic traits have long been favored as the ideal in the political realm. Joan Williams explained that the workplace is often structured in ways that reward behavior that is considered socially appropriate in men, but socially inappropriate in women. This means that there's a perception that women are not fit to be political leaders and a lack of accommodations when they are caretakers. Furthermore, a report from the National Academy Press concluded that subtle aspects of male-oriented culture are hostile to women and can be extremely hard to manage because they are so deeply ingrained. This can be attributed to the regularity of masculinized ethos in many public and private institutional settings, which reinforces traditional gender roles. Not only are women in non-traditional fields especially vulnerable to sexual harassment because they may be perceived as barging into an area where women don't belong and should not compete with men for jobs. The prevalence of masculinized ethos and the gendered psyche creates an uncomfortable workplace that creates serious barriers for women when considering a candidacy. Because the professional realm has been controlled by men for its entirety, the structure does not warrant the same success as it does for men. When these structures are still in place, it makes women not want to subject themselves to them. When women don't run for office, the government lacks the diverse array of policies that women tend to offer. The more women run for office, the greater likelihood they are to champion women's interests, warranting a representative environment within the legislature. Men and women tend to focus on different aspects of policy issues. So when there is a dearth of women running for office, there are limited numbers of representatives pushing for bills in areas like civil rights, healthcare, and education. Pulitzer Prize winner Claire Kane Miller found that female representatives fought for women's health coverage in the Affordable Care Act, sexual harassment rules in the military, the inclusion of women in medical trials, and child care vouchers and welfare overhaul, where men fought for more hard issues, making the presence of women within government critical in ensuring that constituents are properly represented through legislation. Moreover, women are more collaborative leaders, leading to the less partisanship. Sarah F. Anzia and Christopher R. Berry found in the Jackie and Jill Robinson effect, Why Do Congressmen Outperform Congressmen, that congresswomen co-sponsor about 26 more bills per Congress compared to congressmen. Women tend to have stronger networks within Congress. Senator Kirsten E. Gillibrand even said that women tend to be less partisan, more collaborative, listen better, find common ground. Every time I've had a bill that's important to me, I've had a strong Republican woman helping me pass it. But why is there a lack of partisanship? In another study conducted by Alice Eagley and Blair Johnson, they found that women were significantly more interpersonally oriented than men. Men's style was more autocratic than women, i.e. involved giving orders, whereas women's style was more democratic than men, i.e. focused on participation, suggesting that they were more apt to create relationships with their colleagues. When women lack this political ambition, political structures are disadvantaged by the lack of interpersonal skills women bring to the table, affecting congressional efficiency. Not only are women more likely to co-sponsor bills than men, but they are also more likely to sponsor more bills than men as well. In the same study conducted by Anzia and Berry, they found that on average, women sponsor about 3 more bills per Congress, which is a difference of roughly 17% relative to the member average of 18 bills. This phenomenon can be attributed to the findings from Julia B. Baer and Anita Williams-Woolley's study, where they found that in professional settings with enhanced interaction and communication in teams with greater numbers of women, as well as egalitarian rather than autocratic norms, improve group processes, which in turn facilitate increased collective intelligence. When there's an increased gender diversity within the workplace, the dynamic between colleagues can be more streamlined, thus creating a more efficient Congress. By understanding the role masculinized ethos and the gendered psyche play and how women lack political ambition, it can call attention to some of the areas where the gap can be mitigated the most. First, it's important to build a strong foundation with the future leaders, the children. Adichie offers some advice in Dear Igiowele, or A Feminist Manifesto in 15 Suggestions, to not ever tell their daughter that she should or should not do something because she's a girl. Since children copy and learn by example, it's the parents' responsibility to raise their children to believe in themselves no matter what society's views on gender are. Both masculinized ethos and the gendered psyche propel men into politics by embracing their stereotypical traits. And when parents raise their children without these values, they will inevitably develop self doubt. Rejecting the socialization of young boys and girls to adopt gender coded traits and allowing them to grow into their own person can shift the dynamic of the traditional family roles and is critical to instill at a young age. Re examining traditional family dynamics does not provide a complete solution to attenuate the political ambition gap. Policy must be put in place to regulate the media. The prevalence of gender stereotypes in the media can influence how women view themselves, especially in the political and professional world. The lack of regulation involving what can be shown on television, advertisements, and other media has proven to reduce women's self image. Countries like Belgium, France, Finland, Greece, India, Norway, and South Africa have moved to regulate their media to prevent negative gender stereotypes. However, the United States is not. Under President Reagan, legislation was put into place to deregulate the media, leading to the creation of more content with fewer limits on the material and lessening standards as to what could be shown on television. Over-sexualized rhetoric can lead to unequal gender outcomes in public and private aspects of people's lives, according to New York Times' Valeria Safronova. By allowing women to become equally likely to be in revealing clothing in G-rated movies as they are in R-rated movies instills gender expectations for young girls at a very young age. By repealing the Telecommunications Act of 1996, which led to the creation of infotainment networks like E! Network and Access Hollywood, which are so notorious for focusing on the physical appearance of women, the intellectual qualities of these women can become the new focus of the media. By understanding the impact of masculinized ethos and the gendered psyche have on the structure of professional and political society, the solutions in mitigating the gender gap in political ambition become apparent. Removing the barriers that prevent women from wanting to run for office will ensure that the government works to support both masculinity and femininity. Thank you.